Hi and welcome to another video update from the Fire Brigades Union. This time the vital issue of firefighter pay. There's been a significant development in regard to pay and the union is now undertaking a consultative ballot of members. We're joined by General Secretary Matt Rack to discuss this. Now Matt, just the background to this, and this comes through an agreement that annual conference made, which was to explore the future of the fire service, explore the roles that firefighters undertake, but importantly it was all in the context of pay and all in the context of the National Joint Council. Can you give us a bit of background to the build up to this?
Yes, Tom, I think the members will appreciate that the fire service is always evolving. The things we do, the types of work we do, the incidents we're attending is always changing and has done for a long time. And conference agreed that we should consider that. We should consider what we've already changed, but also how we might change in the future, and agreed that we should approach our employers and we should discuss those issues in the context of pay, in the context of addressing health and safety and welfare concerns, mobilising issues, training, resources, and those types of issues. And we've been attempting to discuss those areas with our employers for some time now.
Okay, Matt, well, those discussions have now come to a proposal that's been received by the employers. I have to say, a proposal that's been met by a very angry reaction by the Executive Council, who've unanimously urging members to reject it, especially around a phrase that's used in it, which is non-exhaustive. Can you talk us through exactly what that means and why there's been such a reaction from the EC?
Well, the employers have put in lists of activities. It's important to remember this is an employer's document. It's not a joint document. It's not our document. It does say National Joint Council on the top as though it's a draft agreement, but it is the employer's words. And the lists are of examples of types of work which could be required if an agreement was to be reached. But regardless of the content of those lists, and people might have concern with some of that content, they then, in the introduction to each section, describe them as non-exhaustive. In other words, that this is a list, but actually we could add to it at any time. In our view, that allows the local employer to determine the work that they can require of any of our members and change it at any time. In other words, a completely open-ended contract. And on that basis alone, the Executive Council is absolutely unanimous. Regardless of anything else that's in the document, on that issue alone, we could not accept it, and we would therefore recommend rejection.
Well, that is that phrase, Matt, but you've got other concerns about the proposal. In fact, you called it a hypothetical proposal, and I believe that was around some of the percentage increases that the employers have put down. Talk us through that.
Yes, I was just overnight people explaining that some people had immediately rushed to the figures in the document. It's important to know when people look at the figures that this is not a pay offer. This is a proposal about pay, and the figures that are included in the employer's documents are not actual proposals to increase pay. They're hypothetical proposals if government funding were to be available. We don't know whether government funding is available, so this is not a firm offer. So whatever people's view, some people might think it's significant, some people might not think it's significant, but regardless of that point, it is not a firm offer on pay, and people need to be very well aware of that when they're considering it and when they vote in this consultative ballot.
Well, that begs the question, Matt. If it's not a firm offer, and if it is so bad to be unanimously rejected by the EC, why put it to members? Why undertake a consultative ballot? Can't the Executive Council just reject it on members' behalf?
We discussed all those options, various options which we could have considered of how to deal with the employer's proposal, and we concluded that the most democratic thing in this situation was to hold a consultative ballot. The employers know our position. The employers have known for a long time that we were opposed to this idea of open-ended contracts, non-exhaustive lists and so on, and yet they've still put that as a proposal. They presumably think a layer of our members might be interested in those figures and might be interested in that proposal. So we need now to test that very clearly with our members. I'm very confident when members think about the facts, about the figures, about the hypothetical nature of the offer, and the fact that this is just open-ended. Their employer, their chief officer could ask them to do anything and change that at any point in the future, then I'm confident people will vote to follow the Executive Council's recommendation.
Okay, Matt, so a ballot paper is now going to arrive through members' home addresses. It's a consultative ballot, but it's not just one question, is it? There's two questions. Talk us through why there's two.
There's two questions because we need to address the immediate issue of the employer's proposal, But the Executive Council is saying we're not ruling out discussing this type of issues, the sort of work that our members do with the employers, and that we still think that needs to be done, but not in the context of this particular proposal. So the second question addresses that broader issue of the strategy of discussing the future changes to the role and function of the Fire and Rescue Service.
Now, Mark, we've used the term reject this proposal, but actually the question that members are getting asked is they're getting asked to vote yes. And what is the phrase that we're using in regard to that?
It's because both the questions are posed in terms of this is the Executive Council's recommendation, do you agree? So the Executive Council is asking people to vote yes and yes to each of those questions. So read the question, read the covering circular, read the second question and then vote accordingly. But our recommendation is that people should vote yes and yes in the ballots.
OK, Matt, just finally, the ballot's underway, it's getting processed and developed. But in the interim, is there anything members can do? Should there be branch meetings? Should they discuss this with colleagues?
Absolutely. We will issue other circulars, briefings. The Executive Council will now be reporting back through the regional and brigade structures. There should be branch meetings, there should be brigade committee meetings, open members meetings. That's up to local officials to organise. But yeah, people should discuss this around the mess table with colleagues and attend meetings as well as waiting for a ballot paper to come through the door.
Matt, thanks very much. Well, look, for more updates on this vital issue and indeed all the work of the union, you can go to our website, and that's www.fbu.org.uk. But you can also get immediate updates sent straight into your inbox. That's through the union's electronic bulletin, and it's called Roll Call. And you can sign up to that on the bottom of our web page. Just scroll down to there and put your name in. Until next time, thanks for joining us. And Matt, thanks very much.